First Coast's most accurate forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Hello, everyone. I am meteorologist Lee Southwick, joining you as we watch this nasty line of storms make its way across Alabama now and Tennessee. And this is the system that will be heading our way. Now, luckily for us, it's going to weaken some as it approaches our area, but not enough. And so, unfortunately, we do have a risk of severe weather tomorrow. So that's really what we're here to dive into, our risk of severe weather for Sunday. And by the way, if you have any questions, make sure to comment them on our Facebook live stream. I'll be able to watch that, and so I can answer some of your questions as they come in, or just say hello. Love to say hi to all of you. So this is the big picture setup. This is that front that's been moving across Mississippi and Louisiana. Unfortunately, tornadoes touched down and left damage in their path. We've had some awful pictures and videos coming out of Mississippi and Louisiana. And now it's moving through Alabama, all of those red polygons, those boxes, of course, those are tornado warnings. So right now it looks like one in between Montgomery and Birmingham. That's a tornado warning. There is a severe thunderstorm warning just north of Mobile. And then we also have a lot of flood alerts up with all of those green boxes. But look at that. It looks like that's an interesting polygon there in the middle, but 3 tornado warnings across Tennessee right now too. So this is north of Chattanooga. And then there's just widespread rain from Louisville to Cincinnati to Columbus. Back home, we are dry. It is a beautiful evening, if a bit breezy out there. Our sustained winds now sitting in the double digits, but we're talking 16 mile per hour winds sustained at Mayport, 17 at the airport. It's better than, honestly, when I was on air with you all at 6:30 p.m. when we saw sustained winds in the 20s. So they've backed off a little bit now after sunset. Our gusts, we still have a 31 mile per hour gust that was just clocked in St. Augustine. Other places still in the 20s. So it is a breezy to gusty evening out there. Overnight tonight, temperatures drop down into the 60s. And then as we head into tomorrow, that's when our rain chances start to increase. So already I see a lot of questions, and a lot of it is just about your certain areas, your counties, your towns, and what time. And so that's what we're about to get into now. So generally speaking, our weather impact alert is from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. That does not mean that it's going to be raining on you during that entire time. That covers all of the First Coast. It's a line of storms that will move through. So it will arrive to places like Waycross 8:30 a.m. It won't arrive to places like St. Augustine until maybe 1:30 p.m. But the impact, widespread rain with severe storms possible. So please make sure that you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts, just in case there is a tornado warning. We really hope there are no tornado warnings, but if there are, you have to be able to receive that alert. Our First Coast News app is a great tool for that. It will send you that alert. NOAA weather radios. You can have alerts turned on your phones automatically. And please have a shelter plan, especially if you are out and about on your Sunday. If you're going somewhere, make sure that you have shelter nearby, a place where you can get inside and away from those storms. So let's talk about timing, okay? We're going to do this slowly. Those of you in Waycross, our northwestern areas, you are 8 to 8:30 a.m. Places like Lake City, 9 to 9:30. That also goes for Folkston, 9:30 to about 10 o'clock. Brunswick, you're going to be getting into the thick of things around 10, 10:30, 11. And that goes across Nassau County. So Yulee, Fernandina Beach, 11 a.m. And then that extends down through Baker Union and Bradford counties as well. For those of you in the Jacksonville metro area, it looks like lunchtime right now. That also means that for those of you heading to the Players, it could be 1 o'clock when these storms hit. So I know that they've moved the tee times around, moved everything up, trying to get people in or get the players in. But hopefully it's done. But right now it looks like about 1 o'clock for the Ponte Vedra area. You can see that also it cuts across Clay County, Keystone Heights, and then also moving into Putnam County around the lunch hour. It continues east. It moves through Palatka around 1 o'clock, St. Augustine around 1:30, and Palm Coast also entering your area around 1:30. And we're not completely done with the rain just yet once that line moves on through, because notice that we could have some redevelopment behind it of some heavier downpours passing back over the first coast throughout the afternoon hours. It doesn't look like it will clear until the evening around 6 o'clock. That's when we will see things start to clear out here. All right, so we have been highlighted under a level 2 threat by the Storm Prediction Center. You see that yellow, that's slight. You can see the legend at the top of your screen. So green is marginal, yellow is slight. That's a level 1 and 2 out of 5 when it comes to their severe weather risk. They say that we have wind gusts possibly 50 to 70 miles an hour. That's damaging wind. That's why we have this area highlighted. It's for wind. That's our number one concern. Winds of 50 to 70 miles an hour that can bring down tree limbs. It can cause power outages. We also can't rule out isolated tornadoes. We can't rule out hail. And of course, we're going to get that heavy rainfall, but we'll have to watch to see if it could lead to some localized flooding. I think low-lying areas, you could get a bit of localized flooding, but for most of us, the rain won't last long enough to create any significant flooding issues. So specifically for the wind, it's those same areas highlighted. Those of you in yellow, you have a 15% probability of having wind gusts at 58 plus miles an hour, and that is your damaging wind. Those of you in the brown color, that's a 5% probability. As for the tornado risk, those of you in brown, that's a 5% probability of a tornado spinning up. It's low, which is good, but it's not zero, which is bad. So that's why we're watching this very closely and why you all need to have a plan tomorrow, because we do have that probability of a tornado. As for the hail risk, our entire area, all of the first coast, is under a 5% probability of seeing hail. So as mentioned, if you're going to the Players tomorrow, make sure you have a way to get inside by 1 p.m. Honestly, best if you just leave by then, and because you don't want to be on the road when these storms hit either, as these storms will be strong. I'm going to take this chance to quickly read through your questions. All right, Ashley asked about wind speed. So hopefully I answered that question, whether it was showing you the current wind speeds, because it's breezy out there right now, or the possibility that we could have 50 to 70 mile per hour winds tomorrow. Baker County, I hope you saw your timing. We can go back over that if you would like. But again, that's going to be before the lunch hour, late morning, that we'll start to see these storms roll through your area. Okay, a lot of this is asking about timing. Hopefully you all just tuned in as we talked through the timing of that as that line moves through. My son and his friends are going to Cumberland Island tomorrow. Love Cumberland Island. Beautiful. Not a good day to be out there. Where's the shelter? So if they can get back by, let's see, that timing was more like 11 a.m. It's got to be a morning trip. They got to be back in an area to shelter by 11 a.m. or else you don't want to be caught out in these storms out there. Kathy says her family lives in Alabama between Talladega and Montgomery. Kathy, I know that area well. I used to work for a news station in Montgomery. They are in great hands with their stations there, their teams there. I hope they stay safe and have all the ways to receive weather alerts and can get into their safe space if needed. We are thinking about everyone in Alabama and everyone who's all been impacted and are going to be impacted by the storm system. For instance, if you all have any friends or family in Atlanta, please let them know that the first round of severe weather arrives around 11 p.m. to midnight tonight. They all have to be weather aware overnight tonight. Overnight scenarios, always scary. People go to bed and then don't wake up to their weather alerts. Okay, so how strong are these storms going to be in the Arlington area? So what I can tell you is that we are all going to see rain. We are going to have some thunderstorms. There is the possibility of severe storms. Where exactly that severe storm is going to be, unfortunately, our science is not there yet. Our models are not there yet. But what I can tell you is that there is the possibility of storms being severe. What does severe mean? It means winds of 58 miles an hour or stronger, or it means an isolated tornado, or it means hail falling. And all of those are a possibility. But again, our main concern, the one we think the most might happen the most, has the highest risk, would be damaging wind gusts, which is 58 miles an hour or stronger. That's what can cause tree limbs to fall down, maybe knock over some branches or some fences, maybe a little bit of roof damage here and there, shingle damage, and cause power outages. And then Palm Coast, I see Debbie asking for Palm Coast, and Palm Coast, you would be on the back end of that. So I'm just actually, Palm Coast, you're under all the risks here too. As you know, you're under that 2% for your tornado probability, 5% for hail, and 5% probability for severe winds. But since everyone was asking about areas, one more time, I'm just going to go through the timing of this again. So for Waycross, for northwestern areas, we're talking Georgia counties, you're 8 to 8:30. And then for places like Folkston, it will move in closer to 9:30, 10 a.m. 9 to 9:30 is when it's moving through Lake City and starting to move into places like Baker and eventually Bradford and Union counties. It will be moving through Nassau County at 11 a.m. So for Cumberland Island, that it's approaching there at 11 a.m. It's also moving through Brunswick, St. Simon's Island at 11 a.m., all the way down to Gainesville. And then it will be pushing into Keystone Heights by noon, the lunch hour. That continues up towards the Green Cove Springs area, up through downtown Jacksonville, the Jacksonville metro area. Atlantic Beach, I saw a comment about Atlantic Beach, I believe. Same story. It's like 12 to 12:30. So around the lunch hour for the Jacksonville metro area, and then continuing all the way down towards Keystone Heights. And then as we move to 1 o'clock, notice that this is paused now at 1:30. It's already past Ponte Vedra. So for people going to the Players, I'm thinking 1 p.m. if this model holds. A general rule of thumb here is these models, they are so good. They are getting so good. I like to give it an hour on either side for some wiggle room because sometimes they're not exact when it comes to the timing. So right now, I like to lean on this model a lot. We all do here. We think it's very good with its timing. It's around 1 p.m. for Ponte Vedra. But just to be safe, give it an hour wiggle room on either side in case the system does speed up as it heads towards Florida or if it slows down. So then by 1:30, moving through St. Augustine and then Palm Coast, you're going to be hit by around 2:30. Looks like a strong storm there. And don't forget, everyone behind it, we can't say that we're done with the rain. A lot of times with these cold fronts, you get a line of storms, and once the line clears, you're good. But it looks like we could have some redevelopment of some showers and storms behind it. So really we could continue to see rain off and on until we reach the evening hours around 6 o'clock, and then hopefully we will all be drying out. But again, everyone under the risk of wind gusts 50 to 70 miles an hour. It's a slightly higher risk for those of you in yellow as opposed to green. Isolated tornadoes, a possibility, hail, and heavy rain. I'm going to skip through these next few ones because we already talked about that. And we already talked about the Players too. So let's see where we're going here. St. Patrick's Day. Okay, so it is a cold front that moves through tomorrow, bringing us the severe weather risk. It will be warm and windy before those storms ever arrive. Then the storms move through. Behind it, we will see the temperature start to drop as we head towards Monday. The breeze is going to stick around. Highs on Monday will stay in the 60s. The morning will start off in the 50s, so it will be a cooler and breezier day. On Tuesday, we are going to move back into the 70s, but the mornings could be chilly. In fact, let me speed this up real quick. So this is your 7-day forecast. Notice that Tuesday and Wednesday morning, we could be in the 40s, but in the afternoon on Tuesday, we try to reach back to the low 70s, and we'll be near 80 on Wednesday. Then by Thursday, another front moves through. Now, I think this front is not as strong as the one moving through tomorrow. It will bring some showers, though, about a 30% coverage we're thinking right now. And it will cool us down a little bit. So by Friday, I think it's another cooler day with lows starting off in the low 40s and highs likely staying in the 60s for a lot of you. And by Saturday, we'll be moving back into the 70s. All right, so I don't see any new comments on Facebook, so hopefully I answered all of your questions about risks and timing. I will be back at 11 p.m. tonight, of course, to cover this for you on your television. And then Robert Spetta will be back in the morning. And Ross Muma is coming in as well to help cover that severe weather late morning into early afternoon. And I come back in the afternoon. So we are fully staffed here. We are watching it closely. You tuning in, you're doing the right thing. I just ask you to continue to stay weather aware, stay prepared, and we will keep you updated as this system gets closer. Stay safe and have a good night.